Hello, good afternoon. I'm Bob Miscali. I'm Chair of the Falmouth Select Board.
Hi, good afternoon. Mike Renshaw, your town manager.
And we are here live tonight from the terrific studios of FCTV. And as we make mention every time we do this program, we appreciate the staff and the people here at FCTV for giving us the opportunity to actually give you an update on last Monday's Select Board meeting and to give you an opportunity to hear in a capsulized form some of the important issues that we discussed Monday night. So thank you for being here, and again, thank you for FCTV for putting this on for us. I was a little concerned I'm not sure whether 5 o'clock is good afternoon or good evening. I did a little Googling, and
it's a gray area.
It's a very gray area. It's either late afternoon or early evening. So anyway, here we are. Interesting type of meeting this past week. As we've done before with our Board of Appeals, Zoning Board of Appeals, and with the Planning Board, we had a joint meeting with the Board of Health. The Board of Health, the Conservation Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals are regulatory boards that the Select Board has the power of appointment, and this idea of having this joint meeting with the Board of Health, actually the genesis of that was a memo, a very thoughtful memo that the Board of Health sent to the Select Board, suggesting that the board consider forming a committee to at least start the discussion about the anticipated costs that people will be incurring, whether it's IA denitrifying systems, hooking up to septic and sewers and so forth, that was the major part of our discussion. I don't think we landed on how that committee might be formed or what the charge of that committee would be. But certainly, I think it is an issue that requires community engagement, community involvement. There are certain questions that I think the community needs to address with respect to fairness and equity and who's being benefited and so forth. So
yeah, Bob, I certainly applaud the Board of Health and the Select Board for the concept. I think it's a great concept of forming this committee that will take a look at this issue of IA denitrifying systems and how we can spread those costs, like you said, equitably and fairly.
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of different options available from the county and state that can offset some of these expenses, but not all of them. And it certainly can be a real hardship for homeowners who are on a fixed income. I think it's something we will look at very seriously going forward.
It's a complicated issue, but I think putting eyes on it and getting experts in a room to take time, do the research, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, and I think we'll need some really good financial people. Would be the backbone of this committee. So that was the first item we had with our colleagues from the joint or from the Board of Health. We also discussed briefly the short-term rental regulation. Now, we can talk a little bit about, and we'll be talking a little bit about later on our agenda, but there is a proposal for a short-term rental bylaw. The way it is structured, the actual implementation of the bylaw by statute rests with the Board of Health, and we got some of their ideas with respect to how they feel it would go forward. It certainly puts a great deal of time and work on Scott McGann, our wonderful health agent. But we'll figure that part of it out and move forward with it. Again, depending upon how town meeting goes with the bylaw.
And interestingly, Bob, for the past several months, we've been, as you know, examining different software platforms that would allow us to better track and manage short-term rental registrations. That would in my mind, alleviate some of that, the work hours required, having a strong software platform. So we're continuing to look at that. We have one that we've identified that I think is going to go a long ways to, again, taking some of that burden off the staff.
And another request from the Board of Health was we discussed the allocation of resources and utilizing the embarkation fund down at the Steamship Authority. Could you just talk a little bit about that fund and what it's currently used for and where
Sure.
we might be able to use some money to take care
Sure.
of some of the problems down there?
Each year, the town takes in about $450,000, I believe, in revenues. It's based upon the fee, the charge for taking the ferry across. The town's able to use those funds to offset costs specifically related to the operation and the impact of the Steamship Authority and the ferry service on the town. So we currently use some of those funds to fund, as you know, the police detail in the summertime in Woods Hole, which we piloted last year and it was very successful. We plan on doing that again this upcoming summer. We also use some of those funds for the parking meters, both in Falmouth Harbor and in the Woods Hole area. So we definitely will take a look and see if there's an opportunity and the availability to use some of those funds in some other creative ways, because that is an excellent source of revenue if we can make that, again, that nexus or that connection to impacts directly related to steamship operation.
And with respect to the police detail in the upcoming summer and so forth, we've actually budgeted a little bit more money this year.
We
Am
did
I
take
correct?
it up, but it was $80,000 last year, and we bumped it up to 85. And Chief Laurie indicates that he feels like that's going to go a long ways, that additional $5,000 to get us through the summer. We were pretty close last summer, but we're pretty confident this will get us where we need to be.
And then the last item that they wanted us to take a look at, which is, something that we have amongst ourselves talked a little bit about, is the flow neutral bylaw and approvals that the select board is asked to allow for the excess. So you want to talk a little bit about,
I certainly can.
I mean, the end result was that the Board of Health had some questions about the way the actual bylaw is worded. I think we all have expressed similar concerns, and I think at the end of the day, I think the result is we're going to look at the provisions of the bylaw to make sure that it fits actually with what's going on and what we're trying to solve and accomplish with this flow neutral bylaw.
Correct, and as you recall, Amy Lowell, our wastewater superintendent, actually made the comment that when the bylaw was drafted and written, it served a great purpose, but it's probably time to revisit that. So that's actually going to be one of the future select board agenda topics to revisit and take a look at that.
Very good. So, so at that point, we adjourned, and the Board of Health went and conducted their meeting, and we went on to our regular meeting. We dealt with some of the more normal issues of licenses and administrative orders. And then we actually ended up having not an official joint meeting, but we had some of our colleagues from the Falmouth Housing Authority, in particular Chair Steve Patton, Mike Galasso, and Executive Director Bobby Richards, because as a result of Jack Richardson's election back last May, Jack had to resign from the Falmouth Housing Authority, and there was an opening and a vacancy, and under the statute, it's the obligation of the select board to appoint someone to fill that vacancy until the upcoming elections in May. And we had a wonderful applicant, Hannah Vanderschuren, who has been very involved in the town with the Workforce Sustainability Committee. She works at HUI, and so we appointed her to that vacancy so that the Falmouth Housing Authority has a fuller complement of members. There were some issues, sometimes for one reason or another, a member of the authority can't vote. And there's a lack of a quorum, or the ability to move forward. So, I think I think one of the things we're going to be looking at, or at least I'd be interested in looking at going forward, is our interaction with the Falmouth Housing Authority, and trying to see where there are some options there. They have considerable amount of land that, that has not really been developed to its fullest potential. I think Secretary Augustus, when he actually visited, Falmouth, actually commented that it seems like there's a fair amount of land under the authority of the FHA that might be put to better use. So getting Hannah on that committee, and hopefully she'll be running in May and elected. So
she's going to do a great job. And
yeah,
she'll serve that remaining portion of the term. Right?
Yep. And then we had a couple of other appointments, just Ronald Bauman and Dan Walsh to the Conservation Commission, and Olin Huxley to the Energy Committee. And that Energy Committee is starting to really fill out.
Membership is full.
And I'm really looking forward working in tandem with Stephanie Madsen, our wonderful coordinator. I'm looking for really good things to come out of that Energy Committee. So happy to have Ms. Huxley, step up and finish out the committee.
And she's got great experience too, as she indicated during the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of three public hearings in particular. One was a dock hearing, which went through without too much trouble, and then we dealt with a couple of events. Because we do have an entertainment regulation that the board adopted in June of 2024 that requires a license from the select board. And both events, one event, the first one that we discussed was Crooked Coast, which has been a iconic event here in Falmouth. It goes from, it's a long event, 3 o'clock to 10 p.m.
So Saturday, August 1st, from 3 to 10 p.m. And Rise and Shine Productions, Coast Fest, does a fantastic job. And there were a lot of folks that were talking about, just the organization of the events. There were some individuals nearby, residents, that had some concerns about the noise levels after a certain time of night. But by far, the testimony that was heard during the public hearing was that it was a very well organized event, and as you know, the decision was made to grant the license from 3 to 10.
It was certainly good to see some young people come up and speak in support of the of that event, because they're the ones who are excited about the music, and that's what we really want to. We want to foster that kind of excitement. I think that Crooked Coast does a good job. They clean up after themselves. There are very few noise complaints, and at the hearing, Mr. Vos, certainly understood that there were issues with some of the abutting properties, and I think they'll try to do the best they can within the context of their event. But in answer to my question, he was talking about the economic necessity of going to 10 o'clock and how important it is to there, because a lot is going on towards the end of the night. So it's not so simple to just stop at 9 o'clock. It would probably be a terrible economic hardship to stop it any earlier. That's how the board.
They have some really interesting, unique effects, stage effects, and it's really the full impact of those are after sundown, obviously. So having that extra hour is going to help them out. And honestly, it's one night. It's not a recurring event. It's one night per year. So.
And we had then after that we had the application of the New England Festivals Inc. Harbor Light Illumination, which has been a very, very popular Saturday night. Sorry.
They actually it's a series of weekends.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm gonna.
Sure. Yeah, series of
Sorry.
concert events beginning in July and running through August. So 3 consecutive weekend nights, Saturday nights in July, and then 3 consecutive weekend nights in August. And the organizers of that event, Bob, do a great job. I don't think in the 3 years I've been here, I don't recall having received any complaints from any residents regarding the noise. So again, another example of a very well-run event. And as I recall, it's a free event.
It's a donation
Take
as
donations,
people
yeah,
feel they
and,
want to.
And the organizers then reinvest that money back into the community to support the arts. So just a great event.
No, it is, and that one only goes until 9:30.
It does, yeah.
And for the most part, as the applicant said the other night, they're probably going to stop at 9 o'clock anyway. They just need a little
buffer.
a
Yeah.
little buffer
Yep,
to
yep.
to keep going. Then we had, as we do every year, a presentation from the Joint Oversight Group at Base Cape Cod, Joint Base Cape Cod. I know you're a little bit more involved with that, and especially, what has been of concern for a lot of people is the plans for some housing out there at JBCC, which really hasn't gotten off the ground, but I think may now be starting to, get some real discussions.
That's what we hear. So as you mentioned, Colonel Porter and the Joint Operations Group gave their annual presentation, but part of that, they talked a little bit about the master planning process that's currently underway from Mass Development. Mass Development actually initiated the project a few months ago, so it's kind of still in its infancy stages, but as you mentioned, one of the key elements of that is looking at affordable housing, sections on the base. Where land would be divested basically and allowed to be developed as affordable housing and perhaps some additional uses. They're looking for business development and incubation opportunities as well. But Mass Development, the next stage of the process is for Mass Development, working with the consultant team, the planning team, to visit each community, certainly Sandwich and Bourne, where the base is primarily located, Falmouth being kind of on the outskirts of the base. But really it's a regional project. So Mass Development is going to conduct, I'm told, significant community outreach and public participation to get solicited input from residents and stakeholders about what they would like to see this land be used for.
Well, I mean, the opportunities are terrific up there. There's good land, and just hopefully they'll engage the community as they have said they would.
One of the things I'm really excited about, Bob, as you mentioned, the Select Board appointed me 2 years ago to serve on the Military Civilian Community Council. It was a group of individuals, myself and the Sandwich manager, and the base representatives, looking at a composting initiative on some acreage on the base. And again, a regional initiative. We're looking to develop a intermunicipal agreement with the county, Barnstable County, that's going to allow us to hopefully take what amounts to 1/3 of our waste stream, the food scraps and whatnot, out of the waste stream, out of the landfill, and be able to use a composting system to return that as fertilizer and kind of a usable product. So we're really excited about that opportunity as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, we discussed that a little bit. So, I mean, actually, was it 4 or 5 of the groups that were
I think
part of it?
I think there's 4.
They each gave a report and update, and so it was very interesting to hear all that's going on Joint Base Cape Cod. Let's see, where are we? We are now at a grant that Jed Cornock and the town have been putting together for some scanning funds. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
I mean, scanning is so important these days.
It is. So the state, as you know, we have records retention policies, and by digitizing these records versus keeping them in boxes scattered throughout town and filling up space that's needed, we are able to digitize. So this Community Compact IT grant allows communities to apply for up to $200,000. In our case, we're actually contributing about a $41,000 local match to make us a little bit more competitive. But again, as you indicated, digitization of written records, documents is an important way to allow us to become more efficient and more effective. I think the most exciting part, not only from community development and planning, but also the assessor's office, accounting, human resources, by digitizing the records into this system, staff is going to be able to query, keyword search, and find documentation a lot quicker, rather than literally going through boxes of documents trying to find the document you're looking for. This system is going to allow us to keyword search the document and pull it up in a fraction of the time that it would normally take. So,
And what's the timeline? Do you know the timeline on when that grant might be?
I think it's
approved?
within the next 4 months, I think, is when the approval, we should hear word back. And hopefully this is our first application, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we've got a strong application. I think the more departments, divisions that applied, or are part of it, the process I should say, makes our application stronger. So Jed Kornock, our Community Development Director, did a great job soliciting, and there's 5. Beyond community development, there's 5 other departments that are participating in this as well. So it's a really strong application, so we're optimistic.
And in order to proceed, it requires the approval of the select board to,
That's correct.
to go forward.
Like any
and
grant
we did.
application.
Like
Yeah.
any grant
Uh-huh.
application.
Yep.
Yep. And now we're getting close to town meeting.
Yes, we are.
So the warrant, the book is put together. You want to talk a little bit about the articles and
Sure. So there's 35 total articles in the warrants, and this past Monday, February 9th, Select Board, the process that was conducted on Monday was to vote the articles and execute the warrant, which basically locks in those 35 articles. 10 of those 35 are Community Preservation Committee articles, which is their purview. The Select Board considered, I believe there was 12 or 13. I can't remember the exact number, Bob. I'm sorry, but on Monday night we specifically talked about one in particular, the short-term rental bylaw article, Article 17, and there was some amendments to the language. I think really important amendments that were made. So the process, to give an overview, so following the voting of the articles and execution of the warrant, our finance office sent that document to the paper, so that'll be printed in its entirety, the 35 articles. On February 23rd, the next regularly scheduled Select Board meeting, the Select Board will be voting the recommendations, the very specific recommendations for each of those articles. And then March 2nd, we'll run the entire warrant booklet in the local paper, or I'm sorry, we'll send the total warrant booklet to the printer for publication.
So, I mean, certainly everything that's on the warrant is important, but just to remind the viewers, some of the more important items that are going to be coming up are accepting a seasonal communities designation that we have been offered through the state, adopting the provisions that allow for a tax abatement for annual rentals, homeowners that are willing to rent their homes on a year-round basis, to cut down on short-term rentals and foster, full-year employment. The very nice thing about that is, we can manage that. We can see how it goes. We can pilot it. We could go with a few in the beginning, see how it goes, see what the result is, and consider moving forward.
Right.
And then, as you mentioned, the short-term rental, there'll be a lot of discussion about that going forward. And then the other article of some import had to do with transferring the care and custody of the parcel surrounding Long Pond.
Correct, 484
where
Brick
we
Hill.
were previously, or at least initially, thinking about citing the police
Correct.
station. So that'll be on, and there will be meetings over the next period, the precinct meetings, and a lot of discussion about all of the different articles. So people should read up, and if they have questions, reach out to their precinct members, so that the precinct members can make a proper determination when they vote at town meeting.
Annual town meeting, exciting time of the year.
Yeah, and we have two, as we've said. Not every town has has two, and the big difference between the two is the Springtown meeting. We deal with our operating budget,
Correct.
which you did a terrific job in putting together, and then in November we're dealing with the capital budget, and then items that come up as as part of it. So the YMCA, great project. There are provisions in the select board has policies on waiving fees for nonprofits in particular. This was a big one. It was a big number. It's about $170,000, and it's related to their construction costs, anticipated construction costs, sheet metal costs, and so forth. And the Stacy Pugh and and her contractor were before us, meeting before this past one, to explain the importance of the waiver and some of the intricacies of it. We had a real good discussion, and I think we asked the questions, and that is our responsibility as select board members to, ask some questions. We got the answers, and with those answers, we went forward and, decided to grant the waiver as requested.
And it's an important way to show the town's support and buy-in and commitment to the project, and it is going to be such a wonderful amenity in the community, so certainly support that. And one of the important questions that the select board asked was, how does it impact the fiscal operations, the budget? And as we described, Bob, it really has no immediate impact, but it doesn't leave a hole, so to speak, in the budget, because we weren't projecting X number of dollars based upon building permit fees for this particular project. But we'll continue to watch. Building permits, the trend is basically flat. We were going through the previous few years, we're seeing an escalation in building permits. It kind of flattened out a little bit, so we'll continue to watch that. But I think we'll be in good shape.
So we had previously spoken, I think, about a couple of RFPs that came in for two of the town-owned parcels that we were looking for affordable housing, 21 Pheasant and 20 Brigantine, and they went through the process. They were scored. A recommendation. You want to talk a little bit about?
Sure. So Kim Fish, our housing coordinator, did a great job working with the review committee. Proposals were opened up about a month ago, and the review committee met, what was the third week in January, I believe, to review the proposals. There was one proposal submitted for each of the two parcels, I should say. Select board on Monday night, on February 9th, authorized me as the town manager to dispose of, award a notice, I should say, to Falmouth Housing Trust. They were the proposer that presented the best proposal. So the next step, as I understand it, is the housing coordinator is working with town council to develop a land development agreement that will be filed and allow that project to go forward through the planning process and zoning process. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, and what's really neat about these two parcels and these two properties is their home ownership, which is the model that the Falmouth Housing Trust
Important point.
uses, and it's wonderful to be able to get younger couples in, at a slightly more affordable cost for them, and I think both of those projects are really important, and I'm glad that was able to happen. We discussed a little bit about going forward, some of the ideas we have with respect to ICE and what's going on, and what we as a community want to talk about, discuss, and so forth. We didn't come to any firm conclusions, but we discussed some of the options. There may be some correspondence going out to government officials. We're definitely going to take a look at our statement from June or July to bring it more in keeping with what has happened over the past 6 or 7 months, and maybe some more forums. You mentioned, and it was interesting, the actual event there was to actually explain to people what they should do.
Yes. So as you recall, Bob, back on January 22nd, we had our first community conversation, and Lieutenant Hurt with the police department gave a presentation about a program, Active Bystander Program, that teaches people, trains people on how to interact safely, teaches them basically their rights, to video, but not to directly intervene and block, so to speak, activities. So I think putting on more of those active bystander training sessions is going to be extremely helpful for the community.
So, we're kind of at the end here, and I just wanted to mention, we did get some questions in. Unfortunately, we've kind of run out of time. I apologize for that. We'll try and answer some of those questions the next time. But it's my hope that we want questions, but we would like those questions to relate to the select board meeting that we had and that we're here to discuss, as opposed to just blanket questions, which certainly anyone can come, address questions to the town manager, the select board, if they're, would like answers. So submit viewer questions. You could visit fctv.org/SBR. Thank you for being part of it tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.